Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome on in. Listen, I am happy to be here, not only for another live stream, but also for another day. Amen. So I am very, very excited and here to host a really enjoyable and I hope and I trust and believe will be a very enjoyable and enlightening discussion about a new Netflix series that is. And listen, and let me just say that, for all the foolery that we see on the Netflix platform, you can definitely find a hidden gem here and there, or just something that comes along and just completely blows you away. And I think this is definitely one of those series. And as a huge Greek mythology, as a huge Greek mythology fan myself, this is one I definitely wanted to discuss. And I am thankful to not be doing this alone. I'm here with some wonderful YouTubers, content creators, and just wonderful ladies all around. And I won't keep you guys waiting or them waiting any longer. So let me bring them on in. First up, we have someone. Listen, the username says struggle, but I've never seen the struggle look so good. So what can I say about this one right here? Hey Tyra, what's going on?
Hello, D. I'm so excited. You're gonna explain the show to me. I'm so excited. You're gonna tell me what's going on and who was who and what was supposed to represent what. Because from what I read, I was like, oh, this is something different. So they're not sticking to the mythology. They're doing their own spin on it. So I'm happy to be here with you because I don't know what's going on.
Right, gotcha. Well, listen, I'm ready to get all into it. So yes, we will have plenty of things to expound upon today. Next up, we have someone who, she says it herself. She's oh so sweet. But listen, as we've gone on, I've seen a little sweet, I've seen a little salty, seen a little sour. I've seen all shades. You know what I'm saying? But either way, she has a perspective I always appreciate and always enjoy hearing, and that is none other than Ashley, my sweet perspective. How are you doing today?
I am doing amazingly well. So excited to dive in. This show really surprised me. I did not expect to get this during this season, and I did not expect to get it on Netflix. But alas, they came and they delivered, honestly. I was so impressed. So impressed.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And last but absolutely not least, we have just not just someone who will get you together on the couch, delve into mental health, just bring you in on all things psychological, deep thinking, like all of that, with a nice little taste. Oh, excuse me, a nice little slice of horror, might I add. Wouldn't be complete without her. Hey, Bly, how are you doing today? Fifth Wall
Hey,
Studios.
hey, D, I can't wait. I see the little beat. I said, where did bass come from? Is this my headset? Was this the music? It's a lot of
An
bass
intro.
an intro.
You did get
Okay.
some clips together. I wasn't gonna say nothing because I was just trying to, go with the flow. D got the openings. It was cute. I was like, oh, I was trying to picture and pick which was which, what movie. It was all gelling together all nicely.
Listen, I had to set the scene, so I'm like, let me put these skills to work. What better time? So yes, I am very very excited again, like I said, to dive into chaos. Without further ado, let's get into it now. As I said, I have had a love for Greek mythology since I was very, very young. I can't speak for anyone else, but I know it has definitely been a significant part of my experience as far as reading and learning more about the world, and just kind of expanding my horizons, even from that standpoint of how literature shapes so many of us from so many corners of the world. In this case, ancient Greece. So I was curious and I wanted to know, for you all, what was your particular or your experience with Greek mythology growing up? Now, for me personally, there was the biggest one, absolutely, and at a young age, was Douler's book of Greek myths. Just delving into the history of the gods and the goddesses Olympus, how everything came to be in the first place, how, you know, just all these intricate stories, the nymphs, the monsters, the creatures, the so many things. And it's basically almost like a illustrated history, if you will, as far as their experiences and just all the shenanigans that they cause and get into and so much more. Then, of course, there was Hercules, which was another significant piece of the puzzle. It's hard to tell which one came first between those two, but either way, if Hercules was my introduction, Delaire's was definitely there to expound upon everything that, even though I appreciate Disney, they definitely did their own remix, like a lot of other stories, and definitely toned down quite a few things and other things as well. But the last book, excuse me, the last film I had the chance to see that also tied into my appreciation of Greek mythology was Clash of the Titans. This was around 2010. And again, I understand this is a remake, you know, definitely during the 3D hype post Avatar and all that. And some would say it's probably not the best film, but it's one of those I enjoy simply because I enjoy the world so much. But enough about me. Again, I'll be very curious to know what you guys, what your experience was with Greek mythology, and I will start with you, Tyra.
I'm glad you put it here because that's all I got. Hercules. I'm so glad you put it here, D. I have never been one to want to just really dive into Greek mythology. It didn't speak to me in that way, but Hercules was my favorite film, Disney film as a kid. You know, I had the plastic case that used to open, you know, that thick one. This was my movie. So that was my template for who Hades or Zeus or, you know, Hercules or everybody from that film was. And that's all I had to go on going into this show. And what I can say for the show as an adult, it made me want to expand and get into the universe even more and really learn about them because I don't know, it just seems when you think about gods, you think about something not only powerful and ancient, but you know, if you're a god, you must be a good person. you must be a nice person. You got, you know, you're putting people first. Like, no, these are terrible beings. And I just love that. So I'm gonna definitely be diving into that more. But yeah, I'll check out the other things here and maybe something in the future. But it's always been Hercules all day, every day.
Yeah, absolutely. How about you, Ashley?
Oh my goodness. It goes deep. It runs deep. But if I can say like my first experience, probably like elementary, maybe middle school. And y'all remember some series that used to come on TV. I can't be the only one that watched them. But Xena, Warrior Princess. And then there was Hercules. Okay. And so that was kind of the foray. But then, you know, as you kind of go through school, I took Latin for 3 years. So we studied like the classics, the Odyssey, the Aeneid. And so a lot of things are referenced there. And then when I got to college, definitely studied classical mythology for at least 3 semesters because I was obsessed. I've always been fascinated with it. And just as we've progressed, like we've had so many great experiences with all of the different pantheons. But for whatever reason, the Greek gods have always tickled me, how it ties into like the constellations and all of that. I've always been super, super fascinated as a hobbyist, not an expert, but definitely a hobbyist. But it started with Xena and Hercules, honey, because they went on some epic adventures.
Oh, I got that. I watched that too. I got something else. Look at me.
Yeah, and to really take it back, I remember when they did the Xena and Hercules, not only the crossover for the shows, but they also did an animated crossover. It was like a film. I don't think it was actual series, but yeah, I remember that.
So
yes.
Would 300 count? Because I seen 300. I love that film. Does that count in that area?
I mean, that's in the mix too.
Okay,
it's a little bit different, but it's still in there.
Okay, that's all I got. Y'all, I'm trying.
Yeah. All right, and Kay, what about you? What's your experience been in this field?
Is Kay
frozen? Okay, frozen.
I think so. It might take her a minute to. Sometimes it's a delay, and then she'll come back.
Okay. Well, let me say really quickly as Kay heads back in that as much as there is to enjoy about Disney's Hercules, I just think that, and there are a lot of great things in Hercules, but those muses, I feel like they just had a significant impact on me in ways I just wasn't expecting. So I wanted to also touch on that really quickly.
No, it's black because Ashley told me she had never seen it, and I was like, Hercules was my first, like before we had Tiana and like Hercules was the black film for me because of those musics. I referenced it as, the only black Disney movie we had because of those musics. Like it was sisters there, sisters with voices.
Exactly.
Oh
What about you?
man. Actually, I ain't seen it.
I've never seen
you know what?
Hercules.
I'm so
I
sorry.
literally have never watched it. I'm like,
I'm
huh?
sorry. You literally just said that.
I'm hurting. I was hurting for her because she had never seen it.
Mhm.
It hurt my spirit. Like I just knew everybody had seen Hercules. I thought that was must see like TV as a kid. I don't know.
Mhm. Never watched it. I'm gonna watch it though. I'm making a point to get on Disney Plus and check it out.
You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. And then you like if you weren't watching Hercules, what were you watching for Disney?
Baby, everything else. I was a classic girl. I was gonna stick to my original Cinderella. Then I would watch the Brandy one because we needed a little live action. I was watching Riff Raff Street Rat. I don't buy that. If only you look closer. You know what I'm saying? Lion King. I mean, those were kind of like my Disney youthful favorites. But I'm definitely gonna check out. I never watched this. I never watched Emperor's New Groove. I was like,
Wow.
I'm not fooling with that over there. I
You
was
skipped
the
all
Disney
stuff with
classic.
Flavor. How dare you skip all the stuff with Sassoon and Lowry's on it? Okay, it's
Right.
It's okay.
Okay.
These are probably going to move because Kay is
Yeah.
Yeah.
something might be down. It could be weather over there with Kay.
Mhm.
Don't be talking about me because I live in the country.
There she goes.
But I'm here.
And it's sparkling and it's dark and it's black.
Yes, but Kay, I was curious as to your personal experience with Greek mythology. How's that been for you?
I didn't hear anybody say this one. I don't think Percy Jackson.
Nobody said Percy Jackson.
Okay, well that was my introduction right there. I don't know about y'all, but I liked the Percy Jackson movies. I watched with I can't think of that one guy's name, Brandon T. Jackson. That one. I like those first two and the little show that's on Disney now. That's actually a really good show. I think kids and adults can enjoy the new Percy Jackson series. So that's where I got my Greek mythology from.
I got you. I like that. Just different experiences for everybody. All right. So first, of course, to take a page out of Ashley's book, I wanted to start with you all's overall thoughts just on the series and to give, of course, the rundown as far as the general synopsis. This is a darkly comedic and contemporary reimagining of Greek mythology, which explores themes of gender, politics, power, and life in the underworld. Also, were there any expectations going in? And then what were your overall thoughts like walking away from it? Tyra.
There were no expectations. I saw Jeff Goldblum. That's all I needed to see. I didn't need to see anybody else. If Jeff is there in any year or decade, I'm going to click. Now, the trailer was extremely enticing, and it looked like this is going to be like a unusual ride, but I'm here for it. And the show delivered in every single way possible. I enjoyed this show in a way that I enjoyed American Gods or The Good Omens on I think it's on Prime. Yeah. These are the shows that are hidden, like the hidden gems that you don't hear a whole lot about. These are shows that are on, the back street of stars, and they just don't get a lot of shine. So the fact that it was front and center on Netflix, I was like, look at y'all trying to do some stuff. This show was very original. It just felt really fresh. It felt really fresh, and it was something that I didn't know how they were going to expand on it and push the universe to where I would care to maybe want to see a second season. I'm really invested. I'm really invested. I thought it was going to be a limited series or no, we end off, with Miss Mamas and, trying to get her little plan into fruition and inform the folks. It ain't what y'all think it is. I'm really looking forward to seeing what that does, but I just love how awful everybody is. Everybody's awful. Everybody is sick. Little perverse people. Everybody is just like scum. And I love a tired character, and everybody here is a tired character. I love the little juxtaposition, and the show is shot like the cinematography of the show. Whoever thought about making Hades in the underworld just gray, brilliant. Brilliant, just lackluster in color. It was absolutely brilliant. But to bring this to contemporary modern day, it's like, what would it be like if we were still today worshiping gods, and what would that look like? It was incredible. I cannot wait to see what else they do with this universe. And please watch it because you know Netflix will throw some other wayside. Support the show.
Absolutely. What about you, Ashley?
So I'm going to say, goodness, I'm probably going to echo that sentiment a little bit because I immediately thought American Gods. I immediately thought Neil Gaiman in the universes that he creates, like in the Sandman as well. And I was like, okay, what's this? Because we're kind of going deep. We're playing with some things. But there again was this air of levity throughout this whole thing. So as heavy as the themes were that were presented, there were always going to be a moment where Zeus made you laugh, where Hera was doing what she was doing, where Dionysus was doing the absolute most with the very least. When we meet the fates, I fell out. Like, because are you serious right now? Like, just his what is it, Charles Covell, his reimagining of this universe where the Greek pantheon are still those girls, right? And they're inserting themselves like they did in mythology into people's affairs on a regular basis. Like they're having movie nights just to see like, how can we defeat this prophecy? How can we do this? I loved this imagining of it because it was fresh, it was nuanced, it was new. And I just want to give a shout out to all of the actors in this because we got some lesser known names in this. And I feel like everyone delivered. There were no scenes where I felt like someone was out of place or wasn't living up to, because you have legends on one side and then you have a lot of more novice actors, I'll say that. And I just thought it was amazing conceptually and in execution.
And no, answer me this real fast because I don't know anything about these Greek folks. With Hera and Poseidon and Zeus, aren't they all related?
They are.
Oh, okay. I just want to check. Everybody's siblings, right? They all together. Okay.
I mean, they getting their Game of Thrones on real hard.
Exactly. What are your thoughts, Kay?
Two first thoughts. First thought, Jeff Goldblum and them hoochie daddy shorts. I said, I said he is just never gonna beat these pretty boy allegations. Never gonna beat them. Second thing, y'all know I be here for a good gore fest. I'm like, and they brought the blood and the violence. They did not skip out on it, not one little bit, and I loved every minute of it. The fight scenes, the actions, the death. I was completely here for it. I was like, oh, okay, we ain't going lightly. We ain't taking it lightly here. It was some brutal death and fight scenes in this, and I'm like, now see this is what I'm talking about right here. I'm with that.
Yeah, definitely. I remember seeing like I believe it was the teaser, and I saw where it said Chaos, and for whatever reason, I don't know what I thought this was, but I don't know if it really clicked to me that it was Greek mythology, probably because everything looks so modern. But yeah, going into it, I was kind of like, look, I'm here for Jeff Goldblum. You know, that's been my dude since Jurassic Park, The Fly, you know, countless films, pretty much anything. So I'm like, I'm just gonna watch him alone. But then when I realized Greek mythology, I was like, oh, wait a minute. Because see, the thing is, and I've said this plenty of times, maybe not as much on the channel, but I think Greek mythology, and a lot of mythology, honestly, and which is why I think American Gods and American Gods and Good Omens, and just kind of that, like those worlds that explore that slice of storytelling and how rich and layered and unique the characters are. I feel like that's an untapped well that Hollywood keeps avoiding because, you know, why not go with another prequel, sequel, remake? And I just think that they're just one story of one of these guys, a story of Olympus, a story like there are so many stories. I've even just recently read what was it, Medusa's Sisters. That blew me away. So I've always thought it was interesting how we've never really gotten, and definitely not consistently, we've never really gotten a huge deep dive into that world. And so to have a series that not only explores that, but then has a modern take, which I'm not always here for, but I just think that if you're going to modernize something, if you're going to bring it into the here and now, then it needs to be, I think the execution needs to be top notch. And I absolutely can say this about this in so many ways, from the actors, the performances, and I agree with what was said about the diversity of actors, not just big names. Yes, we have the big names here, but also the up and comers, the people you haven't really seen like that before. Yeah, and so it was really impactful. And I still, from the beginning, I was like, okay, well, we'll see. Even with some of the changes, I just appreciated the fact that even with what I know, it brought something fresh, new, and original to even what my experience with Greek mythology has been. Okay, so slides are doing something odd, but the realms we have going on, Mount Olympus, we have Earth, and we have the underworld. These are kind of the three central places that we see here. Now, Mount Olympus, that is the home of the gods, that is their general residence. Earth, we are here in Crete now. I have not personally been to Greece or Crete. However, I know Spain when I see it because I visited, so I could tell that they come visit Spain. I was like, I mean, sure, I'll roll with it. I get it. Tax incentives, you do what you got to do. But yes, that is our second setting. And then, of course, we have the underworld, which we have a very surprising jump into at the end of this first episode.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. So these guys, man, we gotta talk about them. And I decided to just throw in here just some of the variations we've seen. Like with Zeus, we have Clash of the Titans, we have Disney's Hercules, we have Blood of Zeus, which is also a really interesting, very intense take on Greek mythology. We have some like paintings or imagery, like different kind of images I've seen and interpretations of what Hera looks like. The version from Disney, and then Blood of Zeus as well. When it comes to Zeus, and I also find it really interesting because of how the Disney film portrays Hades as the antagonist. But the irony is that in pretty much anybody's story, and I'm not saying any of these characters are ideal or saintly by any means, but Zeus is the real villain in all of this. I mean, and the thing is, I feel like the series even downplays some of the things he does, because even his sexual conquests, so to speak, some of those things are not voluntary experiences. And the way that he, relentlessly cheats on Hera, the way he is just kind of willing to obliterate and just kind of create chaos in his wake. He's the king, he's the king, he's the king of the gods. He is the ruler of Mount Olympus. He is the head honcho here. But what we also see as we go on is that Zeus has a very complicated history as well, which also you could see as a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy, and we see a whole lot of prophecy discussions in this series. But a big part of Zeus's rise to power came from the fact that his own father tried to kill him. And that is because there was a prophecy that one of his sons would be his undoing, would be his downfall, would be the new ruler. So he decided, hey, my wife is just going to keep having children. So you know what I can do? I can just swallow them whole. And therefore, by swallowing them whole and just keeping them in my stomach, they can't do anything. There we go. It just so happens that his wife had the idea when she had her youngest child, Zeus. She figured, okay, I'll just wrap up a stone and then hand it over to him. He swallows the stone. Zeus is ferried away elsewhere, safe and sound. And eventually, Zeus is able to rise to power by freeing his siblings and then turning on Kronos, who is his father, and casting him down and then becoming the ruler, so to speak. So it's interesting how the series really speaks to prophecy, because his own rise to power was definitely part of self-fulfilling prophecy itself that seems to just kind of continue on, especially when we get to the end of the series. Kay, what were your thoughts on Jeff Goldblum's performance and just Zeus as a character, of course, just going off of this series?
Real quick, we ain't show enough love to the Emperor's New Groove, okay, when we talk about Greek mythology. Okay, Cusco ain't getting enough love. But with that being said, Jeff Goldblum I like his his laid back demeanor. It's like I don't have to seem overly domineering, but I'ma still let you know that I can put you in check whenever I want to. Like I'm gonna wear these tracksuits and seem real laid back, but as soon as something don't go his way, he's like changing stuff. He's just like I'm gonna use my powers here. I'm gonna use my powers here. I'm gonna exert my dominance here. I'm gonna let you know I'm the ruler here. But I really want y'all to think that I'm chilling though. Like you see, look where he's living at. He like be living this lavish life, be chilling, hanging out, cheating on his sister wife every chance you get and stuff, making her all jealous and he is a whole mess. And you see what ain't Prometheus supposed to be your homie, and this is what you do to him. He is this man was something else, but I liked that he had that nature in him that if you just saw him, he don't look like this Zeus down here, this animated Zeus. He don't look like if we go up to him, he gonna go ahead and just, body slam me immediately. He gives, I'm a cool dad vibes. But at the same time, he's like, but don't play with me. Don't do that. So I loved him in this role, but I love Jeff Goldblum anyway. He's gonna deliver regardless.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Tyra?
I love Jeff. The only person that can act like Jeff is Jeff. That monotone, that voice, that cavalier kind of wackiness that he has about himself, it lends everything that it ever needed to Zeus. This is the coolest Zeus I've ever seen. I just love how careless he is with mortal life. You would think he would be a little bit more together because this is what's keeping us going. We need this water. We need this water, but we just, they make it very clear, probably like from the beginning, those first few episodes, fates and, what could be only comes to if you believe it, if you make it. I'm like, you keep adding, you keep giving this situation life. Eventually it's going to happen, but he's just so against, like, oh, I have to stop it. But in stopping it, you're giving life to it. So I thought that was great. But who would ever think to see Zeus in a tracksuit? Like, whose mind goes there? Not only is he in a tracksuit, but I love the fact that he doesn't look like your typical muscular Greek god. Like, no, he looks like a casual, like, I'm a cool dad. He looks like a tracksuit. I'm about to play around a golf and fall asleep with the TV on dad, but he is absolutely all powerful. I love just how terrible he is. He is just an awful, self-centered man, and I want to not like it. I love him. I love him. And I know that's why they probably picked Jeff for the role. Like, on somebody else, you would have maybe just like, oh, this man is awful. I can't wait for him to die. Somebody needs to get rid of him, dethrone him immediately. I was like, no, I hate the way he's going about things, but I just want him to continue to reign and wear those tracksuits and get on everybody's nerves.
I wanted him to turn over a new leaf and be a good guy for what, I was waiting for him to be a good guy so I could root for him.
You can't. It's impossible. Every time you think you may be able to root for him is when it's just like they keep trying to pacify him, where maybe like everybody's just completely at his mercy and it makes him terrifying. But you like him at the same time. But you just think like, okay, this would be the moment. They're trying to pacify him. If this works, we'll all be okay, and he'll sit down. They're just trying to kind of settle him back into. I love this settled Zeus. He's not reigning. It's just like, yeah, just worship me. Where's my statue? And then it's like, is that what I think it is? Did y'all deface my statue? And it shows that it just really took that one thing to tip him over the edge and lose his freaking mind. And yeah, no one was safe. No one was safe at a certain point in the show, and I was really like kind of taken aback. Like, okay, are we gonna make it out with everybody, or is he gonna just take everybody out? You just really didn't know what he's gonna do, and we love an unpredictable God.
Absolutely, Ashley.
So yeah, listen, Zeus is either in the past been depicted as super nefarious and evil, like you alluded to earlier, the non-consensual situations, making babies with all the women of the earth, and doing the most, or he's been put in this role that he's this out forever doing good, saving people, whatever. And I loved this depiction because you get a little bit of both of those Zeuses, right? Because he's multifaceted. He is a narcissist. He is a megalomaniac. He is obsessed with his own power and reputation and all of those things. I think what sent me with Zeus during this series probably was the watch. And his cupbearers, the boys, the pool boys. Sir, you must be stopped, because I think it just speaks to really his character. Like, he could care less about the value of human life. We even saw that with the bees later on, right? She said, so you didn't want them to be bees, so you just took them out. He really cares not. He cares about himself. He cares about this power. I appreciate that they go into the lore of Cronus, and what a maniac his father was, and his brother calling him on it and saying, hey, you're turning into dad. Like, is this a thing? I loved how Hera pretends to be tough, and she is a threat all on her own in this pantheon. But when she saw Zeus on that other side, she said, okay, whatever you like. Whatever you like. I really loved the complexity of all of these characters, but Zeus, Jeff Goldblum's Zeus, he did it for me. He embodied everything that I had imagined when reading some of the classics. So I'm gonna give it to him. He did that.
All right. Absolutely agree. I can't even anything else to that, because I really just think Jeff Goldblum is kind of a sentence all itself. You know what I'm saying? It's just Jeff Goldblum. That's it. Period. So then jumping over to Hera. Now, Hera, ironically enough, is the goddess of marriage. And something that's interesting in the mythology is that Hera never cheats on Zeus. And I think the thing is, it's kind of one of those things where it's either because she takes her, I always thought it was interesting, because it's like, is that voluntary, where she's like, I'm not going to do the same thing you're doing? Or is it that because I am the goddess of marriage, I am bound, so even if I wanted to, I cannot? So it just adds to her internal rage, her anger, her frustration, her resentment, which she then takes out on Zeus's lovers and his children. She has a long laundry list of of his lovers that she has tormented, killed. Hercules, who was Heracles in this version, she tried to kill him multiple times as a child, which is, like I said, it's really interesting to see the family dynamic they have in the Disney version, because she tried multiple times to kill him, and then after a certain point, even when he was older, had a wife and family, she basically whispered, in his ear, drove him mad, and he killed his wife and his children. So the whole dynamic with Hera and the things she's capable of and the things she's willing to do, it's really interesting. And I also thought the layer that we have with the Tacita, with the priestesses who sacrifice their tongues and in order to basically offer confessions up to her, which aid in bolstering her strength and her sense of self, and having this, as far as we can see, this endless room of tongues, and also this really, I guess it's not any more shocking than being married to your brother, but then she has an illicit relationship with, another brother, Poseidon, in the mix. And she is a character who is capable of much. Perhaps in theory wouldn't seem to have the same strength or resilience as Zeus, but she's a very surprising character. And I also have to shout out Janet McTeer, the actress, because I became introduced to her in The White Queen. And I think it was maybe episode 2. She had one of the most savage clapbacks I saw in an episode of one of those shows, where she, I think there's like a mother-in-law, somebody's getting married, and they're like, you're not good enough for my son. And she basically, I guess, as much as you can do in the 1500s, like she dragged them, and the performance was great. So to see her go from that kind of character, different vibe outside of that scene, and then just give this performance here, it was something I wasn't expecting, but I really enjoyed. Tyra, what were your thoughts on Hera?
Hera, don't do Poseidon. Don't do him, okay? That man cared, okay? I think as Ashley said, just this kind of nonchalant, I'm the queen, I'm the goddess, I'm everything. Like, you're in fear. You're in fear, and she doesn't want to really accept that she may be unhappy with Zeus. She may want to go over there with Poseidon or however many other I don't know how many brothers. I don't know. She might want to go with another relative. I don't know. She don't want to stay. She clearly, is unhappy with Zeus, but it's just like, who else am I going to be with? I don't have time for this man to be raining down hell just because I tried to go over there and have a little company. But at the same time, she's awful. That scene with the pregnancy, I was like, what is going on? What is going on? Like, how dare we do that? And then you got to turn me into a bee. The hate. The hate you have to have. Like, she has all this resentment towards him, and she is, pushing it out onto the children. What is the character's name? Dionysus? Is it Dionysus? Dionysus. Like, he didn't, like, I was acting like Dionysus was a little infant. Like, he didn't ask to be here. You don't have to have all this hatred towards, but she is just feeling unfulfilled within this partnership, kinship, marriage, or whatever the hell this is. But she can't do or say pretty much anything to Zeus without setting him off. And Lord forbid we do that. We don't want her to have, him sacrifice 15 more ball boys in the field. Like, we don't need that. But what I can do is take it out on, the children and the wives, and make them bees and be outlandish there, and also sneak off when I get a little sneaky link moment to be with Poseidon. But you can tell that isn't sufficing. She's really unhappy. And I just was waiting the entire show because I knew eventually Poseidon would profess his love and it would come out. And I was like, don't do it. She ain't got your back, dog. She's not gonna do it. She's scared. She is not gonna, uphold you. You are Poseidon, but in comparison to Zeus, he is more powerful. I don't need him being set off. And she did exactly what I thought she was going to do. So that paid off in the end. But yeah, she is incurably unhappy at the moment. But there's always sex, turning women into bees, and having sped up pregnancies and bloodbaths. Terrible woman.
Yes, I concur. Ashley, what were your thoughts on Hera and her her shenanigans when it comes down to these women, and especially with Poseidon, especially the outcome of that and everything else?
I enjoyed Hera because I think there is such an interesting I think there's such an interesting commentary that can come from a character like her being all about women, kind of women empowerment, right? Like, I'm one of the only women in power in this pantheon. Like, I run LA, I do all of this stuff, but yet I want your obeisance. You're going to cut out your tongue and you're going to serve me, and I'm going to be surrounded by you because you're the keeper of all the secrets and you put me on and let me know. I'm also going to take all these women, but I'm not going to unalive them. So I'm not terrible. I'm just going to make them bees and give them their own hive, and they can live out their days just like that. And I think there's this back and forth with her, because when we see things happen to even the Tacita, one of them that Zeus gets, and she is like pissed off. This sends her over the edge. And it was like, were you concerned because you cared about your Tacita, or was it because they're your possession? You know what I mean? And you feel like your possession was violated. Janet McTeer did her big one. Okay. I'd only ever seen this lady in Ozark as the lawyer. You remember her. And so for her to come from that and then come to this, I was like, girl, you better act. Okay. You better do your big one. I loved her in this character. I loved her interactions with both Poseidon and Zeus. But yes, baby, I'm the queen. Like, what do you think this is, Poseidon? Go back to the water. Go back with your lobsters and octopus. Okay. You deal with that. And I'm gonna sit over here with my man, because I'm not going down for you, buddy. I loved it.
Awful. Go down. Y'all going down any other time when y'all alone. Girl, you better go down for me. I'm giving you your life. Like, I really enjoyed that moment where they're trying to get the ruler, whatever he is, to kill the son. And he's like, well, I know you would understand. Or I know if anybody would understand why I can't kill my son. You're just like, why would you think? Like, she's awful. I just love the perception of what the public thinks that these gods representing, and the whole representation of an afterlife. And we're serving with hopes. Like, no, they don't care. And the sooner y'all figure that out, the better off everybody will be.
Absolutely. All right. We also have Poseidon and Hades. We've kind of touched on Poseidon. He is, Lord of the seas, the oceans, the waters, everything in between. And he is, he's quite the character. And it's interesting to see his dynamic with Hera, given how he is any other time we see him, and how domineering and straightforward and intense he is, especially when it comes to commanding people like Minos and getting people to do the things he wants them to do. When it comes to Hades, I'm going to circle back to something I said earlier, but it's interesting in Disney's Hercules, where Hades is basically the villain. He's the lord of the underworld. He's jealous of the fact that Zeus rules Mount Olympus, and he's been cast down into this dark, dreary place, the underworld, and so on and so forth. But it's funny, the actual, as far as the mythology of it, Hades is just kind of chilling. He's just like, all right, like he's very kind of like, like he's just very like flatline. He's very much here, which of course fits because he lives and presides over the underworld, and has, in a sense, death, in his hands. But I thought it was interesting seeing the portrayal of Hades because it definitely is a far cry from some of the portrayals that we see of him, because he is kind of seen as an antagonist, because he's kind of the embodiment of death, of everything dark and dreary and depressing and all of that. But the actual character itself, I thought it was interesting how this series actually took the opportunity to delve more into, from a modern lens, of course, but delve a little bit more into his perspective of his role, of what he represents in the underworld, maybe an aspect of that doesn't satisfy him, where he's unhappy. And of course, much like the environment visually, everything seems to be very gray, very blah, and just very disconnected. So I'm curious as to what you guys thought as far as these two characters and the portrayal, maybe compared to some things you've seen. Ashley?
Muted.
Listen, because I be running my mouth back here. You already know. But to quote Kay, now I'm not a fan of the new Percy Jackson because I like the movies are better for me personally. But if we're gonna go into Percy Jackson, that's probably one of the first depictions, like in a film or show, where I saw Poseidon, because Poseidon is his daddy, right? And I think, what is it? Maybe Wrath of the Titans too. I saw a Poseidon. This one I think was really interesting and kind of fun. I love that he was laid back. I love that he had that cigar. I love that he was bending Hera over backwards. I like that he was this laid back brother. I do wish he had a little chutzpah and kind of knew the fullness of his power, because in this, he's kind of, he's kind of bashful. He's kind of timid. He's not really making waves. And I don't know how I felt about that, but I did enjoy the portrayal. Now, Hades has always been, like you said, depicted as this evil monster. So to find him down here stressing because of really what Zeus had done, to discover that he ain't kidnapped Persephone. She down there of her own free will and volition, goes against everything we've known, right? Because the word on the street was he kidnapped her from Demeter and had her down in Hades for half the year. She'd be on the surface. That's why we have all the 4 seasons, right? And so to see this Black Persephone, I loved it in that I felt like she loved her man. She was holding it down. She was kind of the brains of the operation. On the other side of that, I really wish we got to see Persephone walk in her fullness as the goddess that we wanted her to be. But I actually did enjoy this Hades. I liked this approach, instead of looking at him like a monster, right? He got other people to do that. He's not the monster. He pushing the paperwork. He's trying to figure out why his numbers aren't adding up, and I enjoyed that.
Definitely. Tyra?
Same here. Like, shout out to the underworld being black and white. I seen Halloween Town. I know y'all stole it. It's all right. I know y'all stole that from the Disney Channel, but we gonna let y'all have that. I love this. As I said, the most reference I have to this was Hercules. So to have it flipped here, and it's like, oh, somebody get Hades a drink. Maybe he's tired. He don't want to be here. To know that, like, not only does he not really want to be here, like this wasn't his creation. This was given to him by Zeus. It's like, you gave me something that I didn't want. It was really nice to see just Poseidon, as well as somebody like Hades, be a little submissive to Zeus because he's all powerful. And you see them all as gods, but it's like, we're gods, but we also have somebody to answer to see Poseidon running around threatening folks, using shampoo, sticking toes in people's mouths on behalf of on behalf of Zeus was just something that was unexpected. I just really thought that they were all going to be all separate, and the water is your territory, much respect, and everybody was going to be handled with a certain amount of dignity and respect because you are the god you are the Hades. We're all, first of all, we're all related. Like, Zeus has no honor amongst anybody. Like, when he completely belittles Hades and we see their first little interactions, you can tell that this has always been their relationship, and he's kind of been put down and cast aside and not listened to the point that he's just completely like became a shell of whoever he was, to the point that he doesn't even I don't want to talk to Zeus. I just fix it. Can we just get the count right? Do I have to go up there? Because I would prefer not to. We already know how this is going to end. He's getting closer to dad. He's not going to listen to me. And when he does venture off and he strikes him, I was like, oh, I felt so bad for him. I was like, oh, somebody save Hades. Somebody save Hades. Somebody do something. And then to have, have the sister on his side. We was already here because he had a sister. I was like, I don't know who she is. Don't ask me about these Greek folks, but that's the black woman. Okay. I was absolutely here for that. But if you can make me feel sorry for Hades, that's a special kind of gift right there. Special kind of gift.
Yeah. Absolutely agree. And I just think it's another example of just how this show just subverts expectations. Even when you think you have an idea, like I thought I had an idea, you get something totally different. All right. Now we have Prometheus, Dionysus, and Persephone. Prometheus. Now, again, this to remix to remix the original mythology. Some of Zeus's enmity towards Prometheus is kind of switched up. In the original story, it's because Prometheus dared to bring the gift of fire, which was only reserved for the gods, down to the humans, thus kind of kicking off civilization. And once Zeus realized that, he was like, oh, really? Okay. So he, much like you see here, chained him up with barely any clothes on. We're going to rip open. We're going to let this eagle rip open and tear out your liver and, chew on some organs. And because you're immortal, it's going to keep growing back. And so you just get to endless agony, endless pain, endless suffering, so on and so forth. And here, we also see, which is, well, I'll say here, because I don't know if it delves into that as much, but here we do see that Zeus and Prometheus have a very, and maybe from Zeus's perspective, they have a very strange friendship, or what Zeus perceives as a friendship, and how despite torturing this man for who knows, for eternity, he still sees him as a friend or his shoulder to lean on, and they have these conversations. He has a conversation with Prometheus, and he is truly worried as this line forms. He is truly worried about the future and what this prophecy might mean. And some of that delves into why Prometheus was put there in the first place. But as far as Prometheus, I was curious as to if you guys knew anything about Prometheus and just him being the narrator of the series, and anything as far as that and his dynamic with Zeus.
Oh, I love that he was breaking the fourth wall in this. Like, he's letting us know, like, y'all might see me hanging up here, but I want y'all to know. Zeus don't know, but I need I see y'all see me. I got it like that. I'm a god. So what I'm letting y'all know is that I got a master plan, so that I'm not gonna be like this for long. And the boss that y'all think Zeus is, he gonna fall real soon. But just keep that between me and
you.
Tyra, sorry.
No, this was some type of hell. Who thinks to have an eagle, a bird, a vulture, whatever that was, biting at that man's liver over and over again, and then you're gonna call me up out of the blue for a little unsolicited advice that I don't want to give? That was terrible. That is hell. It was absolute hell. I loved him breaking the fourth wall and talking to the audience. He was the eye for me. And with his dialogue, we just knew that there was a bigger plan ahead that would service him and get him off this mountain, child. And I was just waiting. I was just waiting for that to happen. Or even when he'd have moments of like, well, maybe, you know, what the fates told me, maybe it's not true. Maybe the plan is failing. Maybe I got to hang up here. And he's like, oh Lord, please. Like he has, you know, certain wheels turning and things in motions and things at stake for him, the potential that he has to get out of this predicament. This is just terrible. And just Zeus being so nonchalant about like, yeah, okay, go away. That's it. Like, oh, friend, here, have a drink. I put a little gold straw in it for you. Like, what's your problem? Like, just I was like, oh, you are awful. You are absolutely awful. But I really enjoyed Prometheus, and I wanted him to win, regardless of whatever their history is in real life. This Prometheus, I wanted him to win and get off this rock. Plymouth the rock.
Because I believe Zeus invented narcissism.
And did actually.
Yeah, as far as Prometheus was concerned, I adored this actor in the role as well. I loved that there was this plan working the whole time. Like I loved how intricate everything was, how detailed, how planned, and how he's kind of biding his time. But then I also probably what I liked most was that he wasn't this perfect superhero, right? Or this perfect kind God. He sacrificed the thing that was most important to him and took his man life. Like, dang, my guy. All in order to, again, help humanity, which is why he was up there. I know the lore is for fire, but some other lore talks about Prometheus giving knowledge to man as well, right? And the ability to think and plan and reason. And all of that. So I really, really enjoyed him because he's so in our head the entire series. And you're kind of watching it. I also like how, in his way, he still loves Zeus, knowing how terrible Zeus is, knowing that Zeus has him on this rock, even with his plan. I do still think he had an affection for him. To me, there still did seem to be some remnant of a friendship there, you know, feeling true on his side. Even in the conversation in the end is like, I couldn't do it. Like I wanted to, and even I couldn't go that far. Like I really enjoyed this character a lot.
And with that, with him saying I couldn't do it, so he's been in this predicament for forever for doing the right thing. And Zeus has just been unbeknownst to him, like, you betrayed me, so I have you here. So he was up here doing time for nothing, is what you're saying.
Well, not for nothing, because it went against what Zeus wanted. Zeus ain't want him to love humanity. Like Zeus wants all the love and affection. That's my friend. That's my best friend.
That's my best friend. I'm fine. Raggedy Zeus.
And so I'm sorry, Kay, did I already ask you about Prometheus? Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Okay, and we have Dionysus, who is one of Hera and Zeus's few children. There's a lot of gods up there on Olympus, but Dionysus is an interesting god because he is the god of wine and the dancehall and the bacchanal. You know what I'm saying? He's all about the partying. He's all about the the get down with the get down. You know what I'm saying? But you can see that representing that, it's leaving him a little empty. And then when it comes to his relationship with his father, there's a disconnect, and he's trying to figure out who he is, his identity. Like, what is he really like? What does it mean? How do I kind of get to a point where I prove myself? How does my existence mean something? Which is then how things collide with Orpheus, which gets really, really interesting. But yes, Dionysus is a character who also is grappling with love and perhaps his lack of understanding about that. And then as we progress, he realizes that love and his father's hatred of love is something that also conflicts. So, Kay, what are your thoughts on Dionysus as a character?
I feel like he is just as confused as his parents are. Okay. And that's not saying a lot. Like his mom is what now a B. He don't likes his stepmom. His dad treat him like crap. Don't take him seriously at all. And he honestly wasn't taking himself seriously. I'm glad to see that he grew within the season. Like we did see some character growth and development with him. But when we first meet him, he's a hot mess too, just like his family. He don't know if he's coming or going. I feel like he wanted a purpose. He may not have went about it in the right manner, but I feel like that there was something good in him. He didn't have a whole lot of guidance growing up in that house, you know. And Zeus was content with him being a hot mess. Like he was. He's just like, this is just who you are. We're gonna accept it. I thought you was gonna be something. Apparently not. So don't be trying to, act like you about to be something right now. Just be the hot mess that you are. You pretty much doing good at that. Stay in your place. And he's just like, I don't want to be like this. I don't want to be like you. You trash. How can I be not trash? But I've been trashed my whole life. And watching him on that journey was actually kind of hilarious.
Ashley.
I like Dionysus. I love that when he met Orpheus, kind of in the midst of tragedy, he was like, I want that. Like, you care that much? Like, I'm gonna do what I can to help him. But they still kind of stayed true to what we know his original nature was, which is kind of a little bit of a trickster, but very free, all about pleasure, all about all of those things. But kind of getting sick of it, like you guys already said, vying for the attention and affection and approval of his father, honey. But by the end, I think he gonna have a new girlfriend. I think he and Ari are going to be a thing. He got his god juice of the gods, and I think they're going to be up to no good at the end. I loved seeing his journey and standing for something, right? I even loved his moments talking to the hot dog cart man about all his issues, pouring his heart out. That man is like, what in the world? I enjoyed his character. I thought he was fun. I thought it wasn't so serious. And there again, even with the serious moments, and he is on a serious mission, he was still funny. I liked him a lot.
Tyra.
Child, the way we was gonna make time for this wine and sex, I went and looked him up first. I went and looked this gentleman up first because I was like, let me see your mythology and your history. Because the way it's like, oh, we're on a mission. It's like, no, I gotta make time to get it. I need 2 pumps and then a drink and then I'll come back. But I did really enjoy just the audacity of like, oh my God, I'm immortal. I'm a whole god but I'm seeking a higher purpose. I need to know that I matter. Like, what is it all for? Like, wow, okay, that's original. That's something you wouldn't really expect for a god of all people. Like, I'm looking like, what is it all for? What does it really mean? Yes, I have all this power. I can do whatever I want to, but yeah, I need to, what's it like to really love something? What is it like to really care about someone? You know what? I'm going to help these people. I really enjoyed his journey and how dedicated he was, but all at the same time, not understanding the ramifications of what he was doing. Like, this small thing for you has super ramifications for everybody else who walking on Earth, because Zeus is losing his mind over this watch, over what it means for someone who's dead to make it out of the underworld again. Like, you are messing up things for people, but this means something to me because I just want to know that what I do matter. I want somebody to notice me, see me. I know I'm a god and everything, but who cares about that? I just need to seek something bigger than myself. Like, what, boy? Like, I thought that was really original. And not only that, and him caring for that kid was everything. Because care for that cat. I like that. But I just really enjoyed not really knowing. Because I know you guys spoke on the ending, but I didn't know what that meant. Because Zeus has like spent the entire time here just trying to crush everything that he feels like he represents. I want to care about something bigger than myself. I love the idea of getting these two back together because they were in love, and this mission, even though it meant whatever for everybody else, I care for this cat. And it's like, no. We don't do that here. Take that somewhere else. Matter of fact, when he stabbed the kid, I was like,
he did that for so mean.
And, just hurt his heart. And then you have him told, whatever you're seeking, like what you're feeling is, it's okay. But what you're seeking for yourself and this validation and this love and care this nurturing, it's not here. It's never been that for you. So go seek it elsewhere. And he has the water. I was like, what does that mean? I just hope that he didn't crush what was left of what seems to be, that half of humanity and that nurturing side. I was like, did Zeus crush that when he killed the kid? Is he gonna be all right moving forward? I just wasn't sure, but I hope he is. And shout out to this actor. He looked like he could be related to Jeff. I like that too.
I thought the same thing. Okay, it wasn't just me.
All right. And then Ashley and Tyra, we kind of already discussed Black Persephone, but Kay, I also wanted to get your thoughts on Persephone as well.
Yeah, and not just her.
Take care of your
Shout out to the casting, because I like that they had a wide range of Black characters, but they weren't like in there for stereotypical reasons. They weren't there to be the ghetto person. They weren't there to be the magical Negro or the sacrificial. They were just there being them, but they still had that. Like, look at her hair. Like, we know she Black. Like, she ain't got to do nothing extra. Like, we already see you. We got you, and she played her role, and as she was supposed to down there in Hades, and I loved her for it. But I really like the casting. I just kept thinking the whole time I was watching, like this is how you cast Black actors in something, without saying that I'm making it Black by adding Black people, or I'm adding them just because I want to put color in it, and then they're like stereotypical tropes and stuff. Like, no, I feel like all of them had a role to fulfill. They had a part, they had a duty, they were good actors, and they brought something to the story without it being tropey. So that was something that stood out to me in this series in general. But yeah, homegirl played her role. I really liked her. Like, she is like, now I know you might got the underworld on lock, but don't think I don't see what's up too. Okay.
She was nurturing. I love that. Who would think that Hades would need to be nurtured and cared for and told to, sit down? I love that. Even the little, the comedy that we got here was great. And it was like, bring a sandwich. She's like, oh, you really brought a sandwich? Hell yeah, I brought a sandwich. And I only brought one for myself. Like,
and she got to be the back and forth between him and Zeus, knowing that they don't get along and stuff like that. Yeah. Just like,
she's a great character.
Yeah, she was.
And developed for, the little screen time that she had. She was really developed. Like, I cared about her, and I cared about Hades in their relationship.
And see, everybody can't, like, they don't bring color to those roles in a way that, like, even with a small role, we cared about her, and she delivered her lines in a way that made us invested in her, in their relationship, and we wanted to see more of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like Ashley said earlier, I just think the even again, this is a show about kind of subverting what we've been taught or what we've learned, or even the little bit we might know. So even as was said about the whole backstory with her and Hades, her being abducted, snatched away from her mother, and that being the reason for the 4 seasons, and kind of that somewhat horrific backstory, and her just being trapped in the underworld. It's like, no, that's not, it's none of that. And so even in that sense, it gives her, rather than her being a tragic figure, it gives her this sense of autonomy that the original Persephone really didn't have.
Yeah, I read that. I read up on that. So when we got to the scene where she asked Hera, like, why are all of the books and anything on me saying? I was like, well, girl, that's what it said but I like how they flipped it, and it really serviced her, especially since it was a Black woman in this role. I'm glad she wasn't downtrodden and turned out.
Right. All right. And then finally, we have these very interesting godly figures. We have the Fates, we have Chiron, we have the Furies. Now, one thing I will say about the Fates that I think that, they were depicted like this in Disney's Hercules and also Clash of the Titans. There's a little mixture going on, because there's also the Stygian witches who have the whole eye piece, and kind of the balancing of the eye and what they can see, and they kind of counterbalance that with the Fates and them being kind of the seers of prophecy. So so with those other two, they don't necessarily delve into that here, but yes, we have the Fates who are very outspoken, very straightforward about these prophecies, about what they can see, about what is upcoming. We also have Chiron, who is in the original story, he is the central ferryman across the river Styx, which is the Sea of the Dead, basically, and carrying them to the underworld. And they also kind of subvert that a little bit as well. And then the Furies, which of course are these winged figures who carry out justice, and they judge, and they delve out punishment, and they're kind of the judge and jury, different kind of law, if you will, kind of like law enforcement, but in a different kind of mysterious way. So I was interested in not only just these interpretations, because of course these three in particular, and a lot of the dynamics in the original mythology is a lot more I guess magical in a sense, and you get a lot more extreme visuals as far as what they look like and what they represent. But one thing that I did think was interesting, even though I missed some of that magic, I do think it was interesting how we downplayed a lot of that and just focused on the core essence of the characters. Another thing that was also definitely a remix was Chiron and, I'm sorry, am I saying that correctly?
That's what I was saying.
Okay, I thought it was Chiron. I was making sure it was bugging. I was like, where's wrong? But yeah, but Chiron and Prometheus, they weren't getting it popping in the original mythology. So this is definitely something that was created for the series. But I do think that whole sacrifice scene, which I did not see coming, as Kate said, we gave us a good amount of bloodshed that I didn't see coming. It definitely set the tone, and it definitely helps you understand what Prometheus was willing to do and willing to sacrifice in order to allow this prophecy to take place. But yes, general thoughts on these figures here that we see as kind of the last set of the godly figures. Ashley.
Yes. This imagining of the fates tickled me to no end. The fact that they are in this club, little bar, like little hole in the wall, and people are auditioning and putting on a show basically to get down to the underworld to get their loved ones. And we know kind of lore about that, if you had someone who passed away, they didn't have their coin, or if there was someone who passed who you felt like shouldn't have gone, or it was unjust, you may be able to get in front of the fates and plead your case, right? I enjoyed them. They gave everything you needed, start to finish. I hate Zeus in that you're supposed to be, the most powerful god in all of Olympus, right? In all of this, whatever. And you don't have the wisdom to know that the fates in and of themselves, like if you unalive them, it doesn't mean fate's gonna stop, fool. Like it doesn't mean prophecy is gonna stop. You know what I mean? And it tickled me, even them coming back and like, well, Zeus, go on and do what you feel like you need to do, sir. But no, I really enjoyed this depiction. I thought they were hilarious. They weren't playing no games, and I want your watch, right? Because we know that's why Orpheus got to go, because he said, Dionysus, I've always liked you, and I like that watch. Give me that watch. He can get down there and see about his wife. Now, the ferryman, I've only ever known him as the ferryman, again, to take those souls. If they had their coin, he could row them over the river Styx. This was such an interesting character to me. The relationship between him and Prometheus, even though it was short-lived, we didn't really get to see their start or their middle. We really just saw their end, but we, in that little moment, could see how much they loved each other, right? We could see, Prometheus, like, this was the absolute love of my life. And when he took him out, I was like, that's cold-blooded. But he's looking at, the whole world, in comparison to that. And, in so many years' time, don't forget this. Someone's going to be down there and they're going to need your help. And the fact that, he gave a little fluff in the beginning, but eventually he did his part, kudos to him. The Furies tickled me. I said, they going to tell the truth. They said, Ari, if you don't sit down and watch the tape and see what happened. I enjoyed them. I loved that these were women of color, and they came and they weren't playing no games. Like, you know who your daddy is. I enjoyed them. I thought they did a great job. And even we didn't get a lot of time with the Furies, but they made their presence felt.
Yes.
Tyra.
Baby, the way the Furies say, yeah, you can go, but you're gonna walk. You walk. Like I was here for that because, girl, you're wasting our time. How many ways and days do you need us to show you that your father's up to no good? You want to leave, you can walk. I was here for that. And them being this rendition being a motorcycle biker chick gang, that was interesting. Chiron is just I'm looking forward to what they do with him in the next season because he's so comfortable with the position that he's been in, and it's just like one day this set thing is going to happen, and it just feels like there's some unfinished business between him and Prometheus, and I can't wait for the so why you stab me, bro? Like I thought we were in love. Like you just shake me on the little duvet blanket outside in front of the pool. All right, that was bad. I just I can't wait to see more of that dynamic. The way that these faves were giving tens across the board type of energy. I was here for all the pose, opulence, you own everything, energy that they were giving. I thought somebody was going Vogue in that bar. I thought somebody was going Vogue and do a whole show. Butch Queen realness in this bar, as far as I was concerned. I was waiting on it, but it wasn't that type of establishment. I thought somebody was going to show up in drag. But I was here for their energy and the nonchalant of like, yeah, if this is what you think you have to do, Zeus, go ahead, be my guest. Let me pour the gasoline on for you. Like it was like Vogue and burn. I was like, I was here for all of that because I think we all knew at that point, Zeus, this is not going to change anything. I hated to see them go, but I'm glad that there is some semblance of them still out, of course, in the universe. But I'm like, we're never going to see them in form like this again. They just look so odd. They look so odd and obscure. You got the bald one. You got this one over here. It's like the ponytail thing in the back, and then it's just they look very butch. I just didn't know what to think. I was like, "What are they androgynous? Are these all women? Is this a man?" And like, what are they? I was just very curious. I loved it.
Child, I thought that was Lord Varys from Game of Thrones for the longest. Bae was like, "That is not Lord Varys, Ashley."
Lord, I mean, I can see it.
I can see it a little bit.
Now I'm gonna look it up because y'all know I don't know who that is. Lord Harris.
Okay.
I want to be the Fates. Like I want to be like, let me in the club. Like what I gotta do to get in. I want to be one of y'all. I ain't trying to play y'all little games and stuff. You ain't got to unless my prophecy is to be with what y'all got going on. I don't even need to know it. I just wanted to be them. Okay, like I want to be sitting around in my little club, my little bar. And see, she done looked up Lord Varys.
You don't even look like him though. Quit playing. You know he does.
He does.
I would like to see more from Chiron too. Especially knowing that Prometheus is able to get away from that eagle and be out and about. Like what does that mean for them now going forward? I'm curious to know. When I seen the Furies, I said, okay, Sons of Anarchy. Okay. I'm like, when I see a biker club, I think street justice. We take it. We about to take the law into our own hands, and damn it, if that wasn't what they were here for. And that's what the vision gave to me. When I said, okay, I feel like they about to stand on business, and I wasn't wrong.
All right, yes. And as we transition into the mortals, let me ask really quickly, top 3 gods, go. Okay.
Top 3. Do it have to be from Chaos or any gods?
I mean,
from this show. From this,
yeah.
I like Prometheus. Okay, I mean he a G for standing there getting his insides ate out every day and then going to go hang out with his friend just because he needs somebody to talk to because don't nobody really like him. So like you come and call me from off the mountain to hang out with somebody because you really ain't got no friends. Then just keep me here. Like, that's real petty to send me back when you done socializing. That's petty. But I like Prometheus. I I definitely like Zeus. I can't even lie. Like that man, that man is something else. It's like he's terrible, but he's terrible in a way that I want to watch your every move. I want to watch your every move. And I'm sorry, I want to be a part of the Fates. Let me be in the club.
Ashley?
I'm gonna go Zeus. Definitely, probably Dionysus, and then Hera. Yeah, I'm gonna stick beside. I love Persephone, but she didn't give goddess in this, and I wanted her to. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. Tyra?
Zeus, Hera, and Hades. Because give Hades a hug. He needs one.
All right. So, as we descend from Mount Olympus onto this very, very chaotic Earth with these mortals, we have a lot of characters that we have in the mix. Now, I will say, once I realized, first, let me say, shout out to Harold Perrineau, because Aurora Perrineau, that is his daughter. Harold Perrineau is also, Harold Perrineau Jr., also known as Merch from The Best Man. So I mean, he's done a multitude of things. But that's the one that jumps out immediately. I was like, I knew she looked familiar.
Oh, you talking about this? You talking about Riddy?
Yeah, Eurydice. Yeah, Riddy. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's his daughter. Mm-hmm.
What? I did not know that.
I didn't know that either. I knew she looked familiar. I knew she looked familiar. Like I kept saying, I seen her in something. No, I seen your daddy in something. That's what it was.
What? I need to look that up too.
But yes, I as soon as I realized once I saw the name like fully, I was like, oh, Eurydice? I think I know how the story ends. And then when who we perceived as to be just a nameless oracle initially, mentions her, this being the day she leaves him, and him ends up being Orpheus. Because at first I was like, is this before she meets Orpheus? Because that story, plays out very differently. It's a love story, but then it's quickly followed by tragedy. And yes, and Orpheus, much like the original source material, he is a musician. He makes music that brings people to tears. There's even a point where he journeys to the underworld to get Eurydice back. And Hades is like, yeah, no, she's here, deal with it. And he plays music that is so stirring and so moving. Persephone and they both like start crying. It's like, okay, fine. But then he makes the mistake of looking back at her before they make it out of the underworld, and he loses her again. So there's kind of this deep theme of tragedy that surrounds their story. But here, there are obviously more complications, because Riddy realizes she's not really feeling Orpheus like that anymore. And Orpheus does something really, really foul by removing the gold coin, which allows her to continue on to the journey. Now, coming down to it kind of worked out, because it would have been bad had she continued on in the process. But in theory, it was a foul thing to do. And it also adds to her complicated emotions regarding Orpheus, which are already clouded. Anyway, we also have Ari, or Ariadne, who is the daughter of President Minos. In the original story, it's King Minos, and she's the princess. So we're bringing that into the modern day. But yes, Ari is a faithful servant, devoted daughter. Serves the gods, does everything she's been told to do, despite the fact that she believes that she is responsible for her brother's untimely passing, which is not exactly the case. We find out that Minos, as many a political figure, is hiding some secrets, is not who he appears to be. And his own fear of prophecy has caused him to put some things in place. And by that, I mean the fact that he has imprisoned his own son in this labyrinth. And in this variation, this is the Minotaur, who is named after him. Now, in the original story, which of course are always a lot more intense and twisted, Zeus or Pasiphae, who is his wife, either she does it herself because she feels like it and she can, or Zeus tricks her into doing this just because he thinks it's funny. But either way, there is the sacred white bull that they have, as far as, representing the gods. And it's something that they're supposed to sacrifice and, and to honor them. But that doesn't happen. The bull just sticks around. And so Zeus is like, hey, what would really be funny? Let me trick your wife into copulating with this bull, and let's see what happens. And as a result, she gives birth to the Minotaur, which has the body of a man, but the head of this beast. And he loves to eat human flesh. So they figure, okay, the only way we can fix this, now that this become this huge issue, is to imprison him in the labyrinth, and then send all these men, like 20 men every year, into the labyrinth so he can devour and be sated. Clearly, that is not the case here. They have definitely remixed it. We don't get all of that here. We also have Daedalus. If anyone has ever heard the story of Daedalus and Icarus, it's the story of a man who basically creates wings for his son and himself to fly. But his son gets kind of ahead of himself and flies towards the sun. The sun melts the glue and everything sticking the wings together, and his son falls to his death, unfortunately. So when he references his son and their escape, they're kind of tying into the original mythology that way. We also have Medusa, who everyone knows. Even if you don't know mythology, you know Medusa. The snakes, the hair, snakes popping, right? So what's funny about Medusa is that she's under the mortals because she is mortal. She is a creature. She is a gorgon. She is, quote unquote, considered a monster to many, but she is mortal. Her sisters are immortal. And when she is brutally taken out by Perseus, who is the son of Poseidon, she ends up, of course, here in the underworld. And that is why we see her here. Lastly, we have Cassandra and then Kaos. Cassandra is a character who is cursed with the gift of prophecy because Apollo didn't like the fact that, she didn't swear her undying love to him. She turned back on her promises, and he was like, oh, guess what? This whole gift of prophecy that I gave you, we're going to flip that around so that every time you have a prophecy, no one will believe you. No matter what you say, no matter how true it is, despite this is exactly what's going to happen, nobody's going to believe you. And we see her interaction with Riddy early on in the first episode, and we see how that circles back around to the end as far as that journey and what Riddy now has to do for the living on this earth. We also have Kaos, who has a very, very interesting backstory, but I'm going to save that and just kind of get your guys' thoughts on just the general mortals. Like, how did you feel about them? Whose story stood out the most? Who maybe did you like, not like, in between? How did you feel about these characters? Tyra.
I really like Kaos. How could you not like Kaos? Like, you just feel like, Kaos don't belong here. Let that baby shine. Bring it back. Like, resuscitate him. Whatever y'all got to do. Give him a couple of coins. I don't know. Whatever the process is, get him from down there. And then when we see the backstory, I was like, baby, you just confused me. I was like, okay, so Kaos was in a community where there were no men allowed. And Kaos was getting older and transitioning into a man and was a woman and had to be excommunicated. I was like, is this what? Y'all believe that to y'all. Explain that. But I really, there was a sincerity to Kaos and something endearing. Like, even like, I just want to stay with the dogs. So I got to take the people to the lake, the ocean. Do I got to do that? I just want to stay here with the dogs. Like, I'm already going to be down here for 200 years. Just leave me alone. I love that. I have never seen such a subdued Medusa. You're so used to Medusa kind of being center stage because that's who we see, like you said, more than anybody. So the fact that Medusa's just chilling with her Badu on, I was like, oh, like, just leave me alone. Just do your job and just, let me get out of here. I just want to lay down. It was just very very subdued and just, I'm on the job and that was it. I was like, so y'all really, this is the first situation I've seen with Medusa where nobody got turned to stone. I was like, oh, this is original. This is original. Ari was getting on my nerves because, girl, when somebody shows you who they are, believe it the first time, like, Ari needs a little bit more proof than necessary to me for her to hit go. Girl, how many Handmaid's Tales moment we got to have in the backyard, in the parking lot, in the front of the building displays before you act or just feel like, oh, maybe my father isn't who I think he is. Maybe he's been lying to me my whole life. Like, she needed too much pushing. I ain't had time for that. Orpheus, look here. Y'all going in on Orpheus for taking that coin. Look here, I was trying to be with you, girl. Like, what? Trying to be with her. He was trying to get back to Riddy. Like, if there's a chance that I can, he's just as in love. But I was curious with Orpheus for a minute there. I didn't know, was it all fully love or was it mostly the muse part? Like, do you really love Riddy like that much, or is this just for your own self gratification? And I need you. Who am I without you? What is my muse like? First of all, the songs wasn't giving all that. They was putting a whole lot on it. I was waiting for a scene of him singing. I was like, oh, this is going to open up the floodgates. This must be, if he's the Orpheus, we see him just getting doted on in the fans. Oh my God, it's Orpheus. Your songs are so beautiful. Your voice. So when he saw it, I was like, oh, it's a little yang around the house, but you know what? It's whatever. It's whatever for the show. Go ahead, Orpheus. Go off. I was really invested in his journey because it was hard. It was hard. The fates make it very plain and clear to get whatever you feel like you need or to change anything. You have to sacrifice something, and you just didn't know how far he was going to have to go. But by the time we had him drinking that sand, I was like, look here, baby, take the water. Riddy don't want you anyway. Riddy was down there 5 minutes, and all of a sudden she was in love. Like, Riddy, did you ever love the man? Riddy as kind of our lead here and who we're following the most in the mortal world, she was a different character, because normally you would be invested and just feel like, poor Riddy. I just want, I was conflicted with Riddy at times. I didn't know what to make of her or her journey and just how she really just went about. Because baby, Orpheus didn't know, honey. He thought, aren't we in love? Aren't you happy? Isn't this everything you ever wanted? You're my muse. Like, what's the problem? Like, we've been married up 10 years. Like, what's going on? And she's just, downtrodden and bewildered by the time we met her. And she ready to hit the streets and run. Like, I was going to leave. And just the situation with her mother and the history that she has with the gods. And like, I'm not honoring anything. And this is, all because of the gods. My situation with my mother, this, thing that we have here. I don't want this. Matter of fact, I'm disowning all of that. And she immediately gets, Final Destination by that bus. I was like, oh, that was that was original. But yeah, with Riddy, I am invested in Riddy's journey, but I can't say for sure that I fully like Riddy, because I just wanted her to be honest with Orpheus and honest, with the situation. It was just kind of like, well, this is your fault for, even he took the coin. He did. He took the coin, but we wouldn't even be in this situation if you had faced, everything head on previous. But girl, everything has a plan. If you didn't do what you did, my man was still below that mountain on Plymouth Rock, and we need him to get off them chains. Cassandra down here, I just want somebody to listen. Maybe if she didn't look, homeless, somebody would take her serious. She looked very homeless. And I thought she was gonna morph into, because clearly she's all wise, and she has this forethought to know premonitions of what's maybe coming in the future. And I thought she was gonna morph, that morph that we have of that homeless man in Bruce Almighty, and it turns into don't laugh. You know what I'm talking about. It turns into Morgan Freeman is like, I've been God this whole time. I thought she was going to morph out of this homeless gear, but she was just homeless the whole time. And the gentleman here, I was just really happy to see him again. I remember him from Freak Show. Yeah. And I loved seeing him here with a different type of character and motive. And, we're good. Long as he don't push that red button, baby, we safe. I did some bad, but I did some good too. I cared about him. He has a history with the brother and everything. And mine was just, despicable. Like, get a backbone. These gods don't care, but he doesn't know that. So he feels like he's doing the right thing. But what is the right thing if it's, torturing people in the world, tormenting your family, and killing your own son? You're just as sick as those gods. That's why they got you doing their bidding. Like, yeah, everybody was cool.
Ashley.
Listen, oh goodness, we'll go through it real quick. I can't stand Orpheus. Orpheus's love to me was so performative. Oh, I'm not gonna put this because I'm gonna go get her from the underworld. Fool, nobody had ever even done it until this happened. You didn't even know this was possible. So you were just comfortable and happy with her staying in purgatory, is what I'm gonna call it, in this holding in between
She would have
place. And you never
died. She would have died. After we won't get no. We ain't know that. He ain't know that. But she would have been tapped
he
in the
knew the lore.
forehead.
They out for Orpheus is low down. You know what I'm saying? And even in life, when they have this discussion, she's like, "You didn't ever love me or want me. You needed me." That was the difference. He wanted an at-home fan. You know what I'm saying? To stroke his ego, to make his sandwiches, to go to the market for him, all that. Orpheus, trash. I liked Riddy. Riddy didn't bother me because I understood her, right? You ain't got your mama. Your mama turned her tongue and life over to the gods when you were still a kid. Your mama won't even talk. She can't talk to you. She can't give you no advice. All she can do is write you out a prophecy you done already had and gotten. She's like, F this, F you, F them gods. I'm over it. And I felt her. The one thing I will say I was surprised at, I didn't know they was busting it wide open in the underworld. I did not expect that. I didn't know. I didn't know. I'm gonna stay off Kaneas, but just like Tyra, he too is my favorite. His real story, wild graphic work, but D is gonna get into that. But Kaneas is probably my favorite.
But was I close to what I said was happening in the show? That's what was happening, right?
There's some gender stuff that happened, but not for the reasons you think, and the actions that happen are different. But he'll explain it all. Ari pissed me off to high heaven, girl. Yeah. She pissed me off. It don't take that long. It don't take that long. But I will say I loved her revenge tour at the end. I adored it. I loved it. I was the oldest because I was the one screaming. I'm like, are all the people slow? I said, Zeus can't interpret prophecy. Her daddy can't interpret prophecy. She can't interpret. Go get an oracle. Go get the oracle to interpret the prophecy. Because listen, because they have the oracles there too. We didn't talk about oracles, but Medusa, I want her head wrap. I adored her in this role as the administrative assistant or office manager, whatever she was. She was giving. Icarus, daddy, I felt bad for him. He went out bad. He went out bad. Minos, he could have been gone a long time ago. I didn't like his little relationship with Poseidon. It irked me. His undying fealty to the gods put me where I am today. Yeah, and that's why you're gonna die slow. As far as Cassandra, girl, I just need you to finish it and explain it to me. Don't just drop these prophecies talking about no one believes me and everything I say is true. I told them about Helen and Troy. I told you they was hiding in that horse. Girl, if you don't finish the prophecy and tell me what it means, because don't come after Riddy done got hit by the bus, okay, and then say, I told you was going to leave him today. Ma'am, after I bought you cat food to eat, after I fed
you. It's what was even homeless. Who's going to listen to a homeless person? Like, I think you off your rocker.
That's all I got.
Okay.
y'all be going in on the people that I like, okay? Because not too much on Ari, all right? She was she was still grieving her brother. Did y'all see they had the wax statue thing of her brother that she had to take pictures with her whole life? This is trauma. And then to know that he was still alive and being tortured the whole time, she was going through a lot. So she deserved her villain origin story. Because of her, I'd have been getting a slicing and dicing too. They deserved it. That is very traumatic what they put her through. Little Miss Prophecy, the girl. Okay, you were supposed to listen to the crazy people and old people when they tell you the prophecy. Okay, it ain't her fault that Riddy didn't listen. I feel like Riddy would rather have died than be with that man any longer. Okay.
It's the happiest I've been all my life. Oh, sad life, Riddy.
Cause she could have been told him, he out here talking about, I'm writing these songs and I need you to come to this show. And you knew a long time ago that ain't the life that you want. At this point, I don't even feel like she liked his songs because she was just like, you can write about other stuff. It ain't got to be me. That shows you she don't really want to listen to that music. He should have listened then, but that show he was a little self-centered and thought that he had it going on. She could have humbled him a long time ago and left. Because I feel like if she would have told him how she felt, his ego would have been bruised and she would have been able to walk away scot-free. But she didn't do that. She over here acting like Issa, being avoidant and not wanting to tell people stuff. And that's just what you get getting hit by the bus. You could have told that man. Medusa, I need to her. She wasn't Medusa-ing the way I needed her to. Okay. It was somebody that needed to get got by them snakes. There was a plethora of people that could have got it. She could have unwrapped her head one good time on anybody at this point. But she just, if she's holding back, I want to know what it's going to take to push her over the edge. Mm-hmm. That's just me. Maybe she's showing restraint because when the floodgates are open, it's all over with. What is it gonna? The snakes don't work in the underworld.
I thought they don't work down there.
No, we remember the lady. Remember the lady who wanted the diver job, and she would look at her, and Medusa took the snakes out, and she's like,
"Oh yeah, she did.
I'm not solid." She was like, "Duh, you're dead."
Water and started sinking. I was like, "Now's the time to unwrap, girl. If you want to walk all this talk, like, Kaneas, get out of that water."
Well, they don't need you in the underworld at this point, Medusa. Your job is to leave. Okay, when the bus tour starts and the train is leaving from the underworld to get back to Earth or to Olympus, I need you to be on there because there's some people that need to be taken out. It's a lot of villains here, and you need to be a part of the movement. So I need her to do what needs to be done in the next season. If we get another season, Netflix,
we back.
Please, I'm ready. So I was gonna toss in really quickly Kaneas's story. So in the original mythology, Kaneas is born a woman. I think it's Canis is the name, and so basically Poseidon comes along, which ironically is Poseidon and Medusa kind of have a similar messed up backstory, but Poseidon takes it upon himself to violate Canis, and as a result, Canis asks, and it's hard to say whether it's the trauma of that or it's also the fear of having a child by Poseidon. So she asks for him to grant her a wish, which is to become a man. And to become a strong man, so she, can defend herself. I don't have to worry about that. Like she wants to become a man. He grants the wish, and then something unfortunate happens with a bunch of centaurs, and he gets killed. Yes. So they kind of swap. They kind of swap that around, and they kind of take the more tragic element out of it. Medusa has kind of a similar situation with Poseidon as well. Again, if anyone, I know everyone's not into reading, but if anyone wants to also listen to the audiobook of Medusa Sisters, because they do some twists and turns, but Medusa's experience with Poseidon is a very disruptive one. And as a result, another god intervenes, which may or may not be the reason why Medusa and her sisters look the way they do and why the snakes are there in the first place. So I don't want to spoil all of that, but they both share that sense of violation and disruption, and the gods being able to kind of do what they want to do. And here Kaneas is kind of taking that upon himself and making that decision. But as a result of making that decision, that is what leads to his undoing, as well as his mother giving him up in order to fulfill the prophecy. But initially he believes just like, oh, you just, that's it. You just gave me up just because.
And did Kaneas gain this because this is the new power, right? That Kaneas gains in the end. Nobody's able to do that before.
No one's ever done it before.
Does this happen in the lore, or is this new for the show?
This is
okay, I like that. Kaneas
because once Kaneas is stomped out by the centaurs, he's out.
Not stomped out.
Make me a strong man. So not Kaneas with this little bird chest.
All right, and then finally, we have Riddy's mother, who of course has definitely added some intense disruption and just resentment, trauma, a lot of things to her life and just her awareness of life, because her mother has basically been given up. Her tongue is removed, and again, as you guys said, she is simply the bearer of prophecy and the bearer of confessions to Hera. However, we see that she knows more than she appears to when she basically makes Kaenaeus's mother aware of this being the day. And even when we see her with Hera at the end, it's kind of like she's in on it. She knows what's up. Like there's a bigger plan going on here, and she's not just sitting there unaware of it. We also have Theseus, we have Nax, and we have Andromache. Andromache is Nax's mother, and they are part of the Trojan Seven. They are rebelling against the gods. They are trying to bring this down. They are trying to break out of this entire hierarchy in society where, you know, we praise the gods and we believe in them, and they are the ones, they are the bearer of society, and they're the ones we uphold. And like, no, we're not doing that. So let's just throw some feces on this monument. Let's get the joint jumping. And there are consequences for that, as we see, because Minos decides to go back on his word despite promising Ari. And in the end, we see them getting sacrificed, not Andromache. But yeah, we see this other story that ties into Ares as far as that piece involving rebellion and going against the gods, and just that idea of religion, of duty versus free will. And so I was also just curious, how did you guys feel about these characters, or even just that general storyline of rebellion and the Trojans? Ashley.
Yeah, I didn't like Nax at all. And I thought Theseus was duplicitous in my mind. Because did it feel like to y'all that he and Ari were like trying to make something shake, and then you get in there and find out he got a whole man and you vying to save his life? Like, I felt like they were so duplicitous. I will say I did like Andromache. She's going to be pivotal in a season 2 because she'll be working with Ari. But yeah, Next could be in a hot place. I wasn't sad to see him down there. As far as Riddy's mother, I agree. I think that part of the reason she sacrificed herself to the gods was like a foreknowing of Riddy's destiny, because we know that both Kaenaeus and Riddy are going to be instrumental in chaos, you know, taking control, or it being the state. I know there's a lot of theories out there about that, but I don't think Riddy's mom is kind of like the cold person she came across as. I think she knew something from the beginning, which is why she aligned with Hera for this purpose. And like I said, Andromache, yeah, let's get it back in blood. I'm excited to see what she and Ari do going forward. But Theseus and Nax, out of here. I don't like it.
Okay.
The way I looked at it, with especially with them having so many so-called mortals and them telling their stories, I looked at it as we're trying to decide, is fate a real thing? Are we in charge of our fate, or is it in the hands of the gods? Should we be praising these gods? Should we leave what's going to happen to us and our children and our futures in the hands of these gods, or are they flawed? And should we start believing in ourselves instead and taking things into our own hands? And we see that it goes the back and forth between, should we have faith, and then the whole thing of prophecy. Like, okay, well, if I don't believe in fate, I don't believe in prophecy. But yet the prophecy ends up happening anyway, regardless of whether they believe in the fate anyway. So it's just a lot. It sparks a whole lot of questions that leave you in a state of confusion, to where you're like, you know what? At this point, I don't even know what to believe.
Tyra.
Oh, child, we ain't care about these folks. Because no, I tried to do a little due diligence, like, oh, okay, let me go read up on Theseus. Let me see who that is. I was like, oh, okay, this brother finna be, you know, from what the lore says, it's the whole warrior. He's a fighter. He, you know, killed the little Minotaur or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was gonna, you know, intrude and be, you know, like this with Ari, because it's like, yeah, you know, I think I'm falling in love, you know, with my bodyguard. I just find him so attractive. Like, don't be playing on my time. And then we get to the little part, and I'm like, oh, he a homosexual. He was a homosexual. You just said that. Yeah, I'm essential. Like you could have just said that, and we we could have maybe still got the same result. Don't have me invest my feelings. Like you trying to kick it, and you're a homosexual. You just trying to say yo man, rightfully so, but don't be having me here under false pretenses, sir.
Didn't she go through enough?
that broke her little spirit. Like, fine. Riddy's. Is there any universe where she can get that tongue back and she can talk? Does that happen in the lore? I need that to happen. I need sis to be able to speak some words. I need it because when she opens, it's like Billy from Hocus Pocus. Guys, just get out my camera. I don't want to see it. I thought dust was gonna fly out. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it, but it will be interesting to see that now that the chaos is about to ensue, what that means for, because I'm sure she's going to collide with her mom again, but it's like, if she can't speak, is it going to be like a nonverbal, sign, writing type conversation? I would be interested to see if can they get their tongues back? Are they going to do that? And I'm interested to see what Ari does, because they do make that pact in the end that, since all of this Handmaid's Tale did happen, on my watch, what can I do to make it right? So I'm here for that. But these years, if you was a homosexual, you could have told us that from the beginning.
I am also going to just to support Dane C. We have Peace, Tyra, and Pano. Chaos is cool, but Hercules and Xena, Warrior Princess, is forever goated as the best depiction of the Greek gods. I got you, Dane.
Always, Dane. Thank you so much, Dane.
All right, really quickly, just some of the themes that obviously popped out: power and corruption, fate versus free will, identity and transformation, rebellion versus obedience. Thought it was really interesting how they took these general stories and these characters and then had just these deeper themes that really, I don't know, just the depth of it surprised me. Because even with like just the way they balanced the humor, and the quirkiness with these serious, darker elements, and even the subtext with these themes, I thought that was really interesting. So no general commentary. I was throwing that in there. All right. So where we end up with Riddy. Is Riddy the new prophet? Yes. According to Cassandra, she and Kaeus are now charged with liberating their people. She is liberating the living. He is liberating the dead. But the question, I think the question remains, is Riddy ready? Is she capable? Will anyone listen to her? And will Cassandra, play any major part in this? How did you guys feel about where we left off with Riddy? Tyra.
I mean, after a shower, hopefully Cassandra can play a major part. I would love that for Cassandra.
Y'all be going in on Cassandra. She ain't even do nothing but try to tell her that she's gonna get hit by that bus.
Because I might be in this state too if I've been, prophesizing and nobody's been listening to me forever. But I feel for her. But I was just like, girl, can you please? Then the cat food, I was like, it's giving homeless. Maybe if you didn't look like that, somebody would listen. But okay, that was my issue. I was like, I can't wait. I thought she was gonna go back and get Dionysus. I thought she was gonna go back for him. I thought she was gonna go back for him. So the fact, and even when she gets out of the dumpster with Orpheus, it's like, oh, I'm just gonna walk where? I was like, well, where are you going? Really? Like you're not super. You can't fly. Like you can get in the car. You can cop a ride, girl. Why are you just walking into the depths of this? Is like Death Valley. Where are you going? But she opts to walk, and she bumps into Cassandra. It's like, okay, you're the new prophet, but it's like if nobody listened to Cassandra, what's gonna make Riddy any different? So I think that'll be interesting about her journey in season 2, just seeing how she's gonna get people to listen to her, because the people out there, they are very invested in these gods, and it's gonna be hard to tell them different. We could barely get people not to enter the frame in the underworld. How are we gonna get control and tell people to live your life to the fullest and don't worship these gods? Because once you get down there is no rebirth or you coming back and living like you're gone, you're dead, that's it. And I can't wait to see how that happens, because Riddy isn't the most inviting. Like she fit in very well down there in that universe and in the underworld. I'll say that she fit. That's why she was so happy down there. So I'm interested to see how is she going to be appealing enough for somebody to go, you know what, I should listen to her.
Ashley.
I believe that Chaos is going to have something to do with this. And whether Chaos is Kaneas, which I think he could be because his mama kept calling him Chaos. But Prometheus got on the throne and said, Chaos is coming. I think Chaos is going to be the catalyst for all of this change that I think we're going to see in season 2. I think it's going to be like a new world unleashed. You know what I mean? So I really love this for Riddy. I think her journey to become her full self will be interesting because before we know she kind of hid her light under a bushel, honey. She was just moping around, doing the shopping, making the sandwiches, taking care of the cat. This is going to be a whole new reinvented Riddy with now some power and some autonomy. So I absolutely
Amen.
love that for her.
Amen.
And free of kind of like the confines of me doing what I feel like I need to do to appease my mother, to appease the gods, to do this. Now I'm living on my own terms. So I'm excited to see, and I hope Cassandra takes a bath. I hope she brushes that hair or gets a haircut. And I hope she's there to lead her and guide her. You know what I mean? On her
That's
journey.
what you see on Riddy. I see somebody confronting Riddy. Like, remember when we let you out the underworld and you said, it's like, I tried. They aren't listening to me. Like, what more do you want me to do? Like, that's what I get from Riddy. What more do you want me to do?
Really?
I don't feel like I didn't end this series feeling like Riddy was strong, standing in her purpose, and I'm going to be the new prophet and get the folks to listen. It felt like, how the hell? Like, do I really even just? I really was chilling down in the underworld. Like, did I ask to be rescued? It was giving that. Like, she was fine.
I think she has trepidation, but I think that little pep talk that Kaneas gave her, and I think once she finds out there's more moving parts, I think she's gonna pull it together. I have faith in Riddy.
I felt like she was ready to have underworld babies and be just like, Hades them down, and we can grow old down here together, boo. Come on, Kaneas, let's chill.
She wanted her man down there.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot of faith in Riddy because she's just kind of lackluster. I need her to have a character arc because she ended the same way she began. I don't see too much growth other than the fact that she actually loves somebody at this point. Y'all gonna get off Cassandra, okay? Y'all don't know what it's like giving prophecies to people and they don't listen to you. It's be stressful. She is stressed. She be like, I've been trying to tell you, and people keep trying to tell me to tell you there is more to life. You got a purpose here, and you're not paying attention. That's why you got hit by the bus the first time. I need you to listen to me. Now, if you want to grow in faith and whatnot, if you want to live in your purpose, I need us to be locked in. But right now, we ain't locked in. And you know what? Something else bad gonna happen to you at this point. I'm stressed. They stressing her out. Don't she look stressed?
That's why she needs a bath. That eucalyptus and lavender will do works. You hear me? That aromatherapy will get her all the way right. She'll think better when her hair is washed. I promise you she will.
Hey, these people not listening to her. They be looking at her like she crazy. Because she be it is her purpose to let people know what's gonna happen to them. It's not her fault that they don't listen, and it's stressful. She's like, now I tried to tell you this is gonna be your last day with your man, and now since you didn't want to break up with him, then the bus had to happen. This didn't have to happen, Riddy. It didn't have to go down like that.
It needed to, because we need to get Prometheus off that rock.
Well, speaking of Prometheus, so they both. I'm gonna actually jump ahead. Yes. So speaking of Prometheus, and I'm going to we've kind of touched on that whole thing with Kaneas, but Kaneas being able to revive the dead, which also may tie into Hades' new plans for the underworld, and now being able to make a significant change. But also there's this whole chaos piece. And also we see Prometheus back on Mount Olympus on the throne, and Zeus seems to no longer have powers. It looks like his body is susceptible to wounds, and the flowing meander water has dropped. And considering that we find out, forgot to mention that, but considering that we find out that the nothing is basically fueling like these husks, these bodies, these souls are fueling the meander water that sustain the mortality of the gods. Now that appears to be no longer. I was curious to know what you all think of, because Prometheus says chaos is coming. Kaneus's mother says chaos is coming. So I was wondering, between these two, or I don't know, what do you all think as far as what chaos could mean? Do you think it leans towards one particular person, or is it something bigger than just the two of them? Ashley.
So I think so. Here's the thing: in Greek mythology, there is a chaos that predates the other gods, which literally came from nothing, right? So it's interesting. And like I said, I watched this back earlier today, and his mama says chaos as she's looking at him, and I think she says it again, chaos. I honestly think they are going to make a physical manifestation of chaos, and it's going to be Kaneus. Like, I don't know if he's imbued with like the spirit of chaos and that's what it's going to be. I'm curious about it because chaos could also be just like the state of being that's being released in the earth as well. So I'm curious, but my money is on chaos being Kaneus or being inside of Kaneus. That's what I think.
Okay.
I think it's going to be like what describes what's going to happen. I mean, it will be chaos if he start bringing people back from the dead. I mean, if this is going to be like like they back to life, or like they're going to wake up like dead and we're going to have zombies. I don't know, but it's definitely going to be chaos when them gods figure out that the youthful well is going to be dried up, and that the only way they could get it is by sacrificing humans, because they didn't know that. So it's going to be chaos when they start getting wrinkles and gray hairs. They gonna show out after that, and then let's see how peaceful they are, and if they actually go and team up with Zeus. Like, y'all was mad at him, but he's like, I'm the one that's keeping y'all, youthful and immortal. So now what y'all gonna do? I bet y'all gonna come over here now.
Tyra.
Zeus said, damn, just when I was about to ration out this water. We really need to ration it out now. I took chaos as a general statement. Like, I think every single thing is about to hit the fan. every from the gods all the way down to the people on earth, because if they can't get what they need up there, and they being Zeus, he's going downstairs. He's going downstairs and he's going to try to figure something out, because he's not going to just be content with I'm mortal now. Like, I guess I just act human now, or like, no, how can I get my power back? How can I get my power back? Who do I have to sacrifice? What do I need to kill? And what do I need to eat? That's what he's going to be focused on. And everybody else who was kind of nonchalant about it, and the water, and you're taking this for granted, and we're more so worried about self-gratification and sex and bees or whatever else. How content are they going to be when it comes to the chaos happening and something like, what is his name here? What is baby's name? Yeah. But this newfound power here, like, what is that going to mean? I think I took the chaos as just to mean just general. I think the city is going to be amok. I think it's going to be terrible, and we're just going to be trying to figure things out. But I think the chaos is going to come from the gods more than anybody.
All right. So, assuming now this is not counting anything you might have looked up after the fact, but in the moment, when we see Hera calling what appears to be one of her children and telling them to gather the troops, did anyone have any thought or guess as to who that was? Okay.
I don't know, because I haven't looked into who her children might be, but I am saying we haven't seen Hercules yet. So that it could, if it is, it's got to be somebody powerful. It can't be nobody weak. So it's got to be somebody strong. I'm just gonna guess Hercules, because if anybody can come in with some strength, it's got to be that guy.
Okay, Tyra.
I think she makes several calls. Call up all them kids that didn't answer when Zeus made them calls. Because you don't talk to us, man. You're an awful person. I think she's calling like all of these kids that she tried to drag down, kill on the slick. We need to band together now more than anything. Stuff is going down. I think she's making a call to everybody that she can, and it's going to be like gods against everybody else at this moment.
Ashley.
I'm calling, if I'm Hera and I'm the mama, I'm calling Ares the god of war, right? That's her child. And then they said that Hephaestus is her child as well, which is the god of fire and a divine smith. So if I call both my kids, I mean, we ready for war in battle and we can get it back in blood. So I'm calling both of them, both of them. Yeah.
I agree, but given the troops reference, and that's not discounting Hephaestus, because we'll probably see him too. But yeah, as soon as she said that, I was just like, oh, Ares is coming through. Okay, cool. So yeah, that was exciting because look, it was already about to be chaos. So I'm like, hey, let's bring the god of war in it. Let's take it to another level. Let's escalate it. Let's go there. And as we go there, we have someone else who is ready to bring down Olympus and help rebuild Troy, which is Ari and Andromache, because she is now the new leader and of Crete. And now she is combining forces with Andromache to rebuild Troy and bring down Olympus. How do you guys feel about this conclusion for Ari?
She better stand on business. That's all I'm saying. Stand on business, Ari. You know, I'm a little shaky with Ari and Rudy. I don't have much faith in them. I don't. But
I have faith.
After everything that's happened, I feel like Ari has finally, you know, after she stabbed Daddy, I was like, okay, girl, finally. I think now that that's occurred, she has what she needs to move forward and really do what she wants to do and what she needs to do. But don't play. Don't back out. Don't mess up, girl.
Ashley.
Yeah, you know I'm here for this partnership. When Ari's mama said, "Well, if you don't like things, you can change it now. You run LA. Like this is your kingdom now. So do what you want to do." I'm excited for this. We know what's her name? Andromache is for the streets in terms of war and doing the most. So I think this could be a really good partnership because she can mobilize the people to do the will, you know, whatever they decide to do. And Ari, I think, does have a heart for justice and doing what's right. So I'm excited about this alliance.
All right, and Kay.
I have faith in Ari. I think she has turned over a new leaf. I mean, this is her villain origin story. After you've had to watch your twin brother die that you didn't even know was here the whole time, and then you commit patricide. Yeah, ain't no coming back from that. Ain't no coming back.
I ain't like that either. It's me. It's Ari. Girl, this boy don't know you.
Hey, remember they was locked in the womb.
And then we close out finally on Dionysus, who seems resolved to a certain plan of action. We see him holding his last little bit of meander water. But what could that be for? Who could it be for? What is his plan? What is he going to do? Ashley, what's going on with Dionysus?
Baby, Dionysus going there to get his woman. He saw her on the big screen and said, "Oh, I like her. You see, you see how her daddy tried to do whatever, and she came and got him because he's on that type of time. Because how can I get Zeus? I think he's bringing that water. He gonna get with Ari. That's gonna be his woman. Watch.
Okay.
I you know what, with him I don't know, because he claims he's having an existential crisis and he wants a purpose, but his true nature is to be a bunch of foolishness. So I still don't. I think before he actually truly gets to where he want to be, he still got to mess up a few times, and this looks like the face of somebody who about to do something stupid.
I don't know. Like I said, the ending, I just really didn't know. I don't know what he's gonna do with this. I didn't feel like that was enough on the screen. Like, oh, I think I love her. Like, boy, who loves Ari besides Theseus pretending? I really don't know what to expect. You would think standing there, he has plans, for that water in Ari, but it just wasn't enough. Maybe if they had crossed paths at some point, it could have drove, something for me, just a little bit. Just maybe if it was just once, but there just wasn't enough for me to think like, okay, he's gonna go get with Ari. I don't know what he's gonna do, but I like that.
All right, so that closes everything out. We end with Dionysus. Boom, chaos. Cut to black. So, as far as season 2, any predictions, any expectations, or just some general things you'd like to see, and maybe anything that maybe didn't exactly work for you this time around? Ashley.
It better be great, okay? Ares better be fine, okay? Because Ares is always depicted as somebody good looking. So if he's not, I'll be super disappointed. I want to see Riddy come into her own. I want Chaos to fully be revealed in Kaneas, like I think it will be. And I want to see Zeus unravel. I want to see the full unraveling of Zeus played by Jeff Goldblum because I know he can go there. I want to see him in a tattered bathrobe. I want to see him depressed, unshaven. I want to see all of that. I want to see the breakdown. I want to, well, the full breakdown. No. This is nothing compared to what I want to see. And then I want to see Dionysus and Ari. Ari's gonna pay him dust, but I want to see his pursuit of her. You know what I mean? I want to see that, and I want to see new gods. I hope we are introduced to some that were quiet in the first season. I hope they rally together and we get the full pantheon, or as many of them, as they can afford to get. For us,
Tyra.
I want to see Hades pop off. Okay. Be the Hades we know. You don't even got to be bad. I'm not saying be evil. Just be the Hades that we know. I want to see him pop off. We don't got to be in fear, especially of that man. Baby, you the whole. You ain't got no power or no deed. He don't have nothing anymore. He's mortal, just like everybody else. I'm with Ashley. I want to see him rocking in a corner, just like, oh Lord, like I just want him completely disheveled. Like, what am I gonna do? I want Hera trying to roll up on Poseidon. She's like, no. Stand on your decision, ma'am. you did it. You stand on it. You stood there in front of your husband and said, boy, please, get out of here. I could never. Don't be childish. I was like, oh, girl, don't you ever try to come back over here and roll my boat. I'm looking forward to that. I hope that he finds his purpose. And I don't see him in Ari. I don't want to see that. I don't see them gelling. I like him solo. I hope he finds another like conquest and he figures out, something, his own little solo journey. I don't want him teaming up with Ari or trying to, be in her face begging for her affections. Don't want to see that. Don't nobody want Ari.
Ari need love too. She thought she had old boy and he pulled the little swoop-de-boop on her.
Orpheus, I want to see, who is he without Riddy as the main focus. Figure out who you are for yourself and your own muse. Be one with yourself and the box that you think you created for the universe. Figure yourself out in this whole journey, because now that you're not with her and now that she doesn't want you, who are you without Riddy? I'm interested to see that. Riddy better come full circle. Like I said, she was cool, but it was never. She's not my girl or anything. Yeah, I want the underworld to rise. That's what I want. I want stuff to pop off. I want full blown. You can't name the show Chaos. I want bombs over Baghdad season 2.
I was just about to say I want to see some gladiator type stuff, some Spartan 300 type. I need some knife fights.
She wants the projectile blood, guys. That's what she wants. She wants it from the rafters.
I need to see some more because I now that I know that you all can do it, let's get some more in there. Okay, we are at the times. Let's see some battles. I need to see some great battles with some beheadings and some slashing and dashing. Like let's go. I'm here for it. And Jeff Goldblum, I ain't got to see you torn down. Go and put on a hoochie daddy tracksuit and keep it pushing, okay? Because you the man, and you ain't got to show them that you fail. You ain't got to show them that you down on your luck. Keep your head up.
I would also like to shout out. I meant to mention this earlier, but I would also like to shout out the casting directors for aging up as far as the actors. I'm used to seeing, teeny bopper, young adult. We really like to roll the clock back. But listen, I was very surprised, but I appreciated the fact that we got some crust, we got some ash, we got some stretch marks, we got some crow's feet, we got some sagging. Like I was like, yes, this is what I'm talking about. I'm very curious. How did you all feel about just this overall depiction of people in their older age? Because Hollywood is gonna Hollywood, and we don't always get that. So on my final point, how did you guys feel about just the general depiction and just the cast and age and all of that? Were you feeling that, or were you kind of like,
I loved it. I love this. Like, why not? Like, I hate it because this youth doesn't last forever. I like the fact that we had these gods and they weren't in a constant state of beauty. Like, no, these are some old hags. Hera up there, Zeus is up there. Like, they're old, they're graying, they're aging. And I love that. Like, I appreciated these depictions because we're not, nobody's young forever. We don't always have to cast, fresh, young, and new. Who are we going to put in this role that was going to be better than Jeff as Zeus? Like, don't play. I think the casting was correct. And I think that we should, not feel the desire to play into youth or try to get into. I don't want to see Sydney Sweeney and Lil Baby all the time. I don't want to see Zendaya all the time. Go on, call them elders. Why not? And then with age comes wisdom, especially acting. Like, they carried here, especially Jeff. And everybody who was phenomenal, but the Janet and the actor who, like, they have history as far as acting. So, and with that comes age. Like, they knew exactly who these characters were and how to portray them. Them youngins don't be knowing how to do that all the time. Like, we don't got time for that.
Ashley.
Yeah, no, I'm here for it. Like, we're blessed if we get to get older. So I think it should be embraced more. I enjoyed this. And like to Kay's point earlier, with the diversity in casting and in these characters, a lot of times, even with our elders, they're placed in roles for stereotypical purposes, right? Like you're just the grandpa, or you're just the grandma, or you're just the older whatever. In this, no, these are still fully vital, still very sexual people. Prometheus and his man, they was going to the jungle. Hera and Poseidon on that boat. We got more love scenes with the elders than we did with Dionysus in his freak clubs. So no, I love that. We need more of this, honestly, because older people are humans as well.
Going to Pound Town. That was the first thing I saw when Prometheus finally got down and he was going up them gliding godlike steps in the hoochie daddy. I was like, look at that old body. You better go up them steps. I loved it.
Okay.
They opened up the episode. But old girl I said, so we are we on the yacht and we getting on the yacht like that? This is what we're doing? Really? This how we living? Y'all wild, ain't it? But all right now, just because it ain't for just the young folks. We got to keep it grown and sexy sometimes too. And they did.
Sexy. I'm here for it.
Absolutely. Well, this has been a time, like I expected, but yes, it was so great discussing this series with you all. I am absolutely ready for season 2. I actually heard from the creator that he has a 3-season arc in mind. Okay. So we might get a season 2 and season 3 and then close it out. So I would be here for that. I'm excited to see what they do. And I hope this is just a reminder that, like I said, that we don't let the well run dry, because Greek mythology, there's so much to pull from, whether it's the gods, the demigods, the nymphs, the centaurs, there are stories everywhere. Okay. And I want to see them happen. But in the meantime, I'm glad that we have something really, really solid like Kaos. So yes, please feel free to check it out on Netflix. It is streaming right now. Now, as far as these wonderful ladies, I would love to get into what you guys have coming up, what we can expect from your channels, and let the people know what you got going on. Kay, what's up?
Look, we got a lot going on. We still got Rebel Ridge coming right up next. After this, there is a review for Oddity and Long Legs on the channel. I will be going solo live this Friday, because guess what? It's Friday the 13th. We got to talk about Jason tomorrow, the front room. Tyra and Ashley are probably going to cuss me out, but we are going to talk about the front room. I'm just like, y'all already mad. We're going to talk about it. And we're going to do a Bel Air season 3 wrap up, just revisit it, just kind of wrap up, tie up some loose ends. Although we predicted everything that's going to happen, we just want to tell y'all about it. And Reasonable Doubts, we can look at Morris Chestnut on Friday.
Ashley.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Okay, y'all, just please be sure to make sure that you're subscribed. You have that notification bell on. As Kay said, 10 p.m. Right after this, we will be going live to talk Rebel Ridge, the Netflix movie that came out. Kay gave you the rundown of everything else. So please just make sure that you're subscribed. Check out our membership options. Yeah, and Dee, thank you so much for hosting. This was so much fun.
Absolutely. And Tyra.
What Ashley said. I ain't even about to play with y'all on these. What we got coming up. You know what we got coming up. You saw it. It's always something there. Don't be asleep. Don't be acting like you don't know what's coming up because you see it there. It's up to you to click it. What I can sell is these memberships. I got memberships in my pocket. Go and get a membership. There are lovely things coming from everybody here on this panel. Go invest. Invest in us so we can invest in you. Purchase a membership. Purchase 3 and give the other 2 away to 2 more people. You know, support the channel and we will support y'all with more content. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And as for me, of course, you know, this is the Movie Man, fellow cinephile, popcorn addict, and emerging film critic. And I'm here to discuss all things film, cinema, movie related. I have a few things going on this channel of mine. Most important for me, I would love for you guys to check out my analyzing alternative casting video for Tim Burton's 1988 film Beetlejuice, because I'm going to kick off a series where I discuss some of the casting that almost happened but didn't happen, you know, almost but not quite, and really get into just some of the really interesting and unique choices for actors that we got for some pretty iconic movies. So definitely feel free to check that out. I've also given my thoughts on Alien Romulus, also Beetlejuice. I had the chance to see that ahead of time, and I had a really enjoyable experience with the audience and the fans, even though the movie had some questionable aspects, but feel free to check my review on that as well. I also felt the need to not subject myself to an entire review for The Deliverance, because why would I do that? So I decided to do some brief commentary on the foolishness, tomfoolery, hood boogery, just all things Lee Daniels as it centers around a particular scene. People seem to like my commentary on that, so I guess check that out. And then lastly, as the lady said, please feel free to check their live stream out on the Front Room. I gave my thoughts on the Front Room as well. And all I'm going to say is I never knew that a film could really make me feel the horror of incontinence until now. So if you want to truly understand how this film affected me, please go and check out that review. Like, support, do all the things that I don't usually ask anyone to do, but we're here, so why not? I would absolutely love to have you.
Hell yeah. Do it.
All right. And until next time, just like every time, we will catch you all later. Good night.